What's up, everybody? Khaled Iwamura here from insaga.com in Brampton, in Halton, and in the Hammer. We have the Ontario Liberal leader, Stephen Del Duca, on with us to talk about what happened today and actually what's been going on, obviously, for the last 15 months. So I got to ask first, what do you think of Ford's decision on schools?
Well, listen, I said last week, in fact, I think I was the first person publicly who said that I felt the decision should not be one size fits all right across the province, that Doug Ford should have given public health units locally right around Ontario the chance to work collaboratively with our school boards to make decisions on a region by region basis. I think I said that last Wednesday. Then this past weekend, his science table said the same thing. Look, I'm a dad. My wife and I are raising two daughters. Our older daughter's in grade 8, our younger daughter's in grade 4. I know many parents across the province are nervous, but I know also a lot of other parents do want our kids back in school as long as it's safe and they can remain healthy. And so I think leaving the decision or empowering local public health leaders to make this decision would have made a lot more sense than the way Doug Ford's gone about doing it. I think also it's been clear from the very beginning, Doug Ford has not been interested in keeping our schools safe, our kids safe, our frontline education workers safe, hasn't made the investment, hasn't made the effort. And so, look, today's announcement's being made, that's now passed, but I want Doug Ford to start working right away, like today, on September, because we know come September, it's only 3.5 months. Come September, 2 million kids, 200,000 frontline education workers, 5,000 schools across this province, they need to reopen and it needs to be done well.
What are your thoughts? There is a rumor that patios and retail are going to open this Friday. What are your thoughts on this? And what do you think of Doug Ford's plan? Is it too meek or too aggressive?
So I've also heard or seen the media reports suggesting that they might accelerate the reopening schedule. Look, when he first announced the reopening plan just a few days ago, and then Ontario Science Table backed it up and said it's the right way to go about it, especially considering how tough, how brutal the third wave has been for all of us, that we don't want to take on any unnecessary risks. I thought the plan made a lot of sense. I thought it was thoughtful. I thought it was reasonable. I say that recognizing that right across Ontario, thousands and thousands of small business owners have literally been pushed past the brink of being able to keep their businesses open. So I know there's impatience there. I get it. I support that. But I also don't think we should be taking risks at this point in time. So here's, to me, is the really sad part about this notion. Today we heard schools are going to remain closed, but it's possible later this week or next we might hear that patios and other things will open up a little bit sooner. And again, I stress, I want to go back to our normal. I want people to be able to open their businesses. I want to have a really great summer. But if you're the premier of this province and you've decided to prioritize patios over public schools, it just tells me that you've actually got the wrong priorities and the wrong values. So, I'd want to hear what the science table had to say about accelerating a reopening. I think the original plan, calling for that to start around the middle of June, it's only 2 more weeks, I think is the best way to go.
When I set this interview up, I didn't know it was going to be 1 year to the date of the provincial election. So so I have to ask you about that. What do you have to do to become Premier of Ontario?
Well, look, I think our party, despite the difficult circumstances of the pandemic, has made some really incredible progress. We started nominating candidates last July 1st of 2020. We are the only party that's made membership free. There's no barrier to join the Ontario Liberal Party. And our party membership has grown now exponentially. We now have more than 80,000 members in the party province-wide. And I announced a couple of months ago that we are the first political party in Ontario to have gotten rid of our entire debt from the 2018 campaign. So coming out of the 2018 loss, we had a debt of about $10 million. That's fully paid off now. So we are focused on getting ready from a financial perspective for the election. But here's the part that I'm most encouraged by. We began the most open and consultative platform process in our party's history about a month and a half ago. We're calling it Take the Mic. You don't have to be a party member to participate. And we've literally had close to 250,000 people across this province who provided comments or feedback or given us ideas. I've started to release some platform details. For example, a few weeks ago, the Ontario Liberal Plan, we call it Care for Every Child, which is about early learning and childcare that'll leverage the federal investment to deliver universal $10 a day licensed care for childcare for every family in Ontario that needs it. So I'm really excited about the progress that we're making around the ideas, the positive forward-looking ideas that we're going to put in front of the people of Ontario in terms of giving them a sense of where I want to lead the province. I think all of that really great work combined with just continuing to work as hard as we can to earn the trust of voters is the way to go about this. And that's what we're going to remain focused on.
Okay. Would you, I know I'm looking ahead here, but I mean, if let's just say, would you consider forming a coalition with the NDP if, the Conservatives win a minority government?
Look, I will tell you, we are exclusively focused on putting that positive forward-looking roadmap in front of the people of Ontario. After the last 3 years that we've seen from Doug Ford, what I think Ontario is looking for right now, more so than ever before, is competent, compassionate leadership. I believe with my experience and my skills, combined with the team that we're assembling and that platform that we're putting together, that I will represent that best option for compassionate, competent leadership come the next election campaign. But here's the thing. I would be prepared to work with anyone, regardless of the party that they might belong to. So that could be NDPers, that could be Conservatives, that could be Green Party members. If those individual women and men share my passion for progress, they want real economic dignity for workers, they want a real plan to confront the climate crisis, they want to fully rebuild and recover and support publicly funded education. If people want to do that, I'll work with anyone who shares those goals, regardless of their partisan stripe. And I have to tell you, I think in the aftermath of the pandemic, in particular, Ontarians will care less about party affiliation and more about what kind of progress we're looking to deliver for them. And again, that's what I'm focused on.
We see these ads that Doug Ford and the Conservatives are running in regards to, going after the federal Liberals in regards to the airports. What's your take on the federal Liberals and their handling of the airports?
Look, I think there's never been a doubt in my mind that a provincial government, be it Ontario, Quebec, or somewhere else in this country, should be working closely with the federal government, even advocating to make sure that our border control measures are as tight and as strict as they need to be. I guess the problem I have with the way Doug Ford's gone about this, and to my knowledge, he is the only premier in this country who's decided to take out partisan political ads. And let me stress, when I say partisan, what I mean is the government's not putting this forward by way of an information campaign or an advocacy campaign. The Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario is paying for these ads. That tells you all you need to know. This is about politics. It's not about the borders. It's not about the airports. Doug Ford knows he's only a year away from an election campaign. It's not a coincidence that these ads started right after his polling numbers started to drop and his unpopularity started to grow. What Doug Ford doesn't realize is his polling hasn't gotten bad because of ads or the border or this. His polling has gotten bad because the people of Ontario are fed up with being abandoned by him in long-term care, in publicly funded education, around the climate crisis, around economic dignity. Just think about how long it took Doug Ford to belatedly deliver a half-hearted paid sick leave program. More than 400 days after I begged him to reinstate paid sick leave, he finally came forward with something. So Doug Ford has decided the most important thing he needs to do is to focus on his re-election, not Ontario's families. And that's the real reason he has paid for, through his party, these campaign style ads to attack the federal government. He wants people to forget that he's made the missteps and the mistakes that he has. And again, he is the only premier in this province who's decided to go about, in this country, who's decided to go about it this way. Doesn't mean he shouldn't pick up the phone and call the prime minister and then work together to secure borders and to make sure we're looking after things the way that we need to. But the partisan political ads, that's all about Doug Ford putting Doug Ford first.
The province has mandated employees of long-term care to have proof of vaccination. What are your thoughts on this? Is this going too far, or is it not enough?
Listen, I don't think it is going too far. I know that there is a vaccine hesitancy within the individuals, personal support workers, nurses, and others, in particular, people of color who have some concerns around vaccines and healthcare that hasn't always treated them, quite frankly, fairly and responsibly and in a reasonable way. So I understand the hesitancy. I also know that their representatives, labor organizations, have done public awareness campaigns. They've tried to advocate for more and more of their members getting the vaccines. Having said all of that, I do believe it is reasonable and it is responsible to require that an individual have the vaccine if they're going to work in one of our nursing homes across Ontario. And I say that in particular because we've all seen how tragic the circumstances have been in those nursing homes and how so many people have tragically lost their lives in those homes. And so I think that makes it even more important that we get it right. So I know it's not an easy thing to say to compel someone effectively to get the vaccine if they want to work in those homes, but we have to do more by our seniors, by our elders in this province, and providing them this level of support when it comes to their health and their safety, I think is a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, our Lola just turned 101 and she's at a
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
congratulations. That's incredible, 101.
So, and just last question, what's the first patio are you going to hit when you're allowed to?
Well, given how much coffee I drink on a regular basis, I suspect it's going to be some kind of establishment that, that has really great coffee, whether that's a Starbucks or somewhere else, because I drink coffee all day long. It's a bit of a bad habit that I have. So I suspect maybe with my dad, maybe with my brother at some point in time, maybe my wife and kids, if it's safe and responsible to do it, we'll head somewhere. I'll get a coffee. They'll get something far more interesting than I'll get. That's probably where we're going to end up first.
Okay, coffee of choice?
I drink really strong coffee, so I normally have the strongest roast of kind, whatever it is, whatever establishment in, plus espresso. So I add the espresso into the coffee.
All right. I know you're worried all the time. All right. Stephen Del Duca, Ontario Liberal Party leader. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
All right. I'll catch you next time. All right.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.